As y'all know, probably too well in some people's opinion, I have always liked driving Dodges, and many a video on my channel shows that. Some of those videos is me driving the Dodges fast, winning races, blah blah blah. But, well, this video will show me losing in a fast and never even on the channel before. But yet, I am statistically, with the correct circumstances, and these are, the fastest Dodge driver in the world. I'm not lying. Voila. First in the world. I'm as surprised as y'all are. It's definitely an honor getting to this, no matter how I got to it. This is almost definitely a one-off thing. I really don't think I'm ever going to get the circumstances to go my way, but I mean, just, there you go. World rankings. I'm the highest odds out of everyone in the world. I couldn't do that again if I tried. I really don't think. It's not necessarily that this is faster that I'm ever going to be able to run again. It's just the people that run against me. And well, y'all see that this race. This is the least competitive race probably that I've personally been in on the channel. But it's a top 24 superstars race. So again, I can't really complain. I'll go ahead and say this right now. For the two top 24 superstars races I've been in, finished 23rd out of 24, and in this one I'll leave it hanging, but I'll just say starting 24th out of 24th, as y'all can see it there. I've driven to my absolute max in both, I will go ahead and say that, and I honestly don't think I could have driven any better in either. I'll just leave that there, and so the race. But yet, I've already shown this and proved it. For this session, I'm the fastest Dodge driver in the world. I don't really even know how to feel about that. I mean, it's a dream come true that I can say with absolute certainty that I'm the fastest Dodge driver in the world. There's an asterisk there. I mean, it's true. It's in the record books. I assume all this will probably be posted on like the GT main site forever once you go to GT Sport and then the championships and then go to the right section and all that and then to the manufacturer specific. I'm gonna be theirs first, but Jiminy Cricket, I won a world championship. Me. For my favorite manufacturer. I think y'all can see where I'm going with this. I mean, I probably don't cut myself as much slack as I deserve it sometimes. I may give myself more credit than I deserve it sometimes, but I'll just say this. ORMA Snow is driving a Dodge this time around, the current one that's going. This is the most recent one that's completely finished. The one that's still going, arguably the best driver in the world, or at least in this particular how they do the rankings with the world, because like other regions don't correlate or whatever, or they're correlating later or something like that. I mean, ORMA Snow's leading the top 24 superstar race, so I mean, there you go. But yeah, in a Dodge. GT Academy 2013 this time around. In a Dodge. In previous times, Doodle Monopoly, TRL Doodle, in a Dodge. Yeah, I mean, I had the perfect circumstances. I did what I needed to do. Should I have truly won? Even without the technicality of just barely squeaking into the top 24 superstar race, I was 23rd on the grid even before qualifying. So I barely even made it no matter how you look at it. I would have won by about 200 points if this race had normal points. That's a margin you can't really argue with. That's clearly faster. It's not just like a 1 by 20 or something. This could be the equivalent of one position in one race with everyone in the same class or the top two in the same class. It's probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 positions with the top two in the same class, or a position or two if it's in different classes, but still, this is as bittersweet of an awesome victory as I'm ever going to get, I think. Realistically, too, this is going to be the final ever FIA 24 Superstars race I'm in. Because the only reason I think I got in these two is because I had more time to play than a lot of other better drivers than me over winter break. The race I did directly at the very end of winter break, I was 19th. A week removed from winter break, aka a bit less time to play during that week, I was 23rd. I mean, I still raced as fast as ever. I just didn't do as many races. And well, people are just catching up and passing me now from my grind over winter break. I guess the best way to put it is, for everyone and not just me, is don't ever give up. Know what you can do and max out that potential. Do your absolute best, and maybe, just maybe, it'll come to a point of where it can be good enough to actually do some extraordinary things that you never thought possible. It may just be for one time, but I mean, hey, if that's enough to get you noticed, that's enough to get you, quote unquote, immortalized. Even though realistically, no one's probably going to look at this much past 2018 or so. It's still there. Even you yourself can go back and look at your old records if you happen to set records. And that's for anyone, the best drivers. Drivers should just have one record. If it's a record that stands, it's like a championship or something for a particular set of time, it will always stand. So, just, if you get it once, at least you know you can. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, the circumstances would be right to get it again. This race goes on for about 30 minutes total. I don't even know if my phone has enough battery to record that long. I don't have the best of phones, as y'all have seen before too, but at this point, this is the main thing that I'm saying for this video. Just, if I can be first in the world for manufacturer, my favorite manufacturer, y'all can do whatever y'all set your hearts to, that's for sure. I will continue doing this till my phone dies or race ends. Probably phone dies, but yeah, there's not. I'm kind of speechless at this point. I guess I can do it more like a normal spectating. Is honestly, these drivers, even like the fourth fastest Porsche driver in this race, is quite a bit ahead of me. I think there's at least 4 Porsches in this race. Even if you do pick a popular manufacturer, though, you may not win for that manufacturer. But if that's a faster manufacturer, you might do that much better in the overall, not just manufacturer specific, just overall points. And that's worth something, too. It's just however y'all look at it. Even if it's just one particular circumstance, you finish higher than you did in the rest, that's still also a win. I know in some videos I can be like arrogant or whatever, and that's sort of kind of on purpose because it's generally against other people who are also arrogant, and sometimes those people deserve it. Wink wink, y'all might know who I'm talking about in some circumstances, especially some of the people who've been around the channel for longer than GT Sport. But one thing that I have always said is just keep on practicing, keep on bettering yourself. One thing that I put in the Dirty Endurance Racing League thread on GT Planet, which is relatively infamous for those of y'all who've read it or posted on it or whatever. Probably ain't too many people watching this video, but if y'all are brave enough to look at the last 10 pages of that thread, it sort of kind of sums up that whole thread in general. But despite all the chaos that was that thread, I attempted to try to still be positive despite all of the negatives that I may or may not have legitimately caused. Those are in other videos. For this video, I'll just say one of the things that I specifically remembered posting there, and there was a lot of posts there, over 5,000 between our group, is that even if you're 30 seconds behind in whatever race it may be, top 24 superstars, random dirty league that exists for a year and a half, fighting for a year of it, and will barely even be remembered 2 years down the line. If you're losing 5 seconds a lap, you're in last place. You have no chance of even gaining another spot. Just challenge yourself to only lose 4 seconds to next lap, or maybe not even the next lap, maybe just one lap in particular. And hey, even if you get that, you did improve. And then continue onward with that. And then maybe eventually you'll be only 2 seconds back from the leader and third from last. Even though it may not be pretty, even though nobody else may even notice that type of improvement, it still helps. And if you do that consistently for a long enough period, eventually there's going to be people worse than you. Whether they stay worse than you, whatever, they might just be new drivers, but hey, it counts. And then if you're able to beat them, maybe just maybe win some races, then people do notice you, even if it's the new people. If it's new people and you look good to them, then hey, that's an improvement, isn't it? Even if it's just new people who don't really know what's going on yet, well, at least they will kind of remember it. I guess y'all know where I'm going with this. It's just gradual improvement. I'm pretty much telling a story of how I did it. It's just sort of told in other videos as well. For some of these drivers that I'm showing on camera, honestly, they have natural talent, probably. I guarantee every other driver in this race has better reflexes and reaction time than me. It's never been my specialty ever. My specialty is practice, 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 memorize something the best I can, and then hope nothing else goes wrong. Somebody wrecks in front of me, I'm probably gonna wreck in some way, shape, or form. It's literally like an 80% chance. If somebody wrecks behind me, though, trying to pressure me, then yay, that means I was good enough. I forced them into a mistake. If I can force someone in front of me to wreck in a way that I happen to not wreck into them, then yay, that's still a win too. I'm not perfect, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. Even these drivers aren't necessarily perfect. I know me and a lot of other people say the phrase aliens for even the people I'm showing on camera, not even necessarily the leaders. Everyone in this race sort of kind of is, compared to at least one other person, I'm sure. There's been people who's even said I'm an alien. I guess if some people think that, then maybe to those people. But, yeah. To tie this kind of all back up, even though really this is only about mid-race, I'd say my phone's gonna die pretty soon. I'm the fastest in the world. For Dodge. In one section of one video game. In one season of that section of that one video game of that one manufacturer. But, with all those things considered, I'm still the fastest in the world. I don't really think there's much else to say at this point. It's probably a 1% chance I even got these circumstances, especially this quick, that I got them. And if I can get them, y'all definitely can too. So, well, I'll kind of sort of leave it here, just with like the general intro or conclusion or whatever. The yeehaw. I'll just keep going just because the race in general is kind of sort of entertaining. But yeah, I'm kind of going in circles at this point, so I guess I'll just facilitate it. I'll be in the future somewhere or another with races, probably not here, but I guarantee each and every person here deserves their own spotlight as well. And I hope for Jiminy Cricket's sake they've gotten it from somebody. I've sort of forced in my own spotlight or whatever, and I know some of these top people have it anyway just because they are the absolute top, but everyone here deserves it. And really everyone everywhere deserves some type of spotlight. If you continue practicing, no matter really how good you are, it's still worth being mentioned by someone or another. As I've done in the past, I've mentioned different channels and stuff that have, like, GT content and all that. The vast majority of those moved on to GT Sport, but there was like one or two who didn't, so then GT Planet got mad at me for that. If anyone's still watching this video on GT Planet at this point, please don't get someone angry at me. It's just the truth. That's what happened. Y'all might not even know what I'm talking about, but I made those videos in good intentions. I wasn't trying to make anyone mad at all. Really, I was trying to make more people happy with that, and yet people still got mad. That kind of ties into point two. Even if you do keep on practicing, even if you do kind of sort of get in a way, if you're not doing it intentionally, if you're doing everything you can, then it's still worth it for you. Just do whatever you can, and eventually it'll probably work out. Even if it doesn't work out, I mean, at least you tried. That's maybe a point to just move on to a different game or something. Racing seems like one of those games that I think the main reason I started playing it, one is because I've always liked cars and dodges and stuff, and GT4 had a lot of dodges and stuff, but racing also starts kind of simple. It looked simple on paper, and really for just basic messing around, it's pretty simple. For GT4, it's just X button makes you go fast, and the square button makes you go slow. It's really all I needed to know, and then I guess the joystick to turn, but I like smashing into cars back then. I kind of sort of do now. Y'all take that as you may. But racing is... it's simple enough to do. And if you've started doing it, and you like it, continue for enough. And then it'll get simple enough to do well. I mean, I know that sounds very easy or whatever. There's a lot more specifics there to that, but it's true, really. Of course, the drivers I'm saying right now, probably the majority, if not all of them, have a wheel. Where it's not just two buttons, it's your whole body. That's just how the overall improvement goes, or whatever. Just how the evolution of bettering yourself goes, if you can do that. I might have a wheel at some point, not in the near future, but maybe. And even if you don't, I mean, I guess I've shown that I'm far from the best in terms of, like, given skill or whatever. I'm not really naturally good at all that much. I'm good after a while with training or whatever, but right off the box, not really. I don't have that much natural talent. I still got to this race. I still got to win a world championship, kind of. I know this is probably the equivalent of the championship that I had, of someone winning, I don't know, like, maybe like the 1956 NASCAR Convertible Division West Series Championship or something. I think the convertibles were about 1956. I know Petty raced them, and that would have been 58, but let's say 56 because that would have been early on. This was early on as well, so that makes the comparison better. But that might have very well been a championship that existed. I don't know who won that. I don't even think I know who won any convertible division championships. But yeah, I know Richard Petty was in it, so I assume Lee Petty might have been in it. But still, that driver won. That driver got a trophy. That driver's in the record books. Again, if you want to look NASCAR encyclopedia or whatever, there's like a book form, or at least it used to be, and now there's like racingreference.com or whatever. If you search NASCAR and then the divisions, and you find the convertible division, and then you find the year, and then you find the exact series or whatever, or location where that would have been. Like how there's like K&N East and West and all that now. Maybe there's convertible division East and West. That driver's probably been long forgotten, but it's there if anybody ever wants to remember, or even know something they don't. So, I mean, that's a small victory, but it's a victory. I know even for a real reference, that's kind of true for someone that I sort of even know in real life, who's raced in real life. They won one NASCAR series race ever. It was whatever K&N was back then. It was something in the early 1980s. One race they won. I think it's actually even on racingreferences.com. I don't know if they want me to say their name, so I won't. I might actually do a separate video with this at some point. They won one K&N or whatever it would have been back then race. And it would have been whatever series it would have been. It would have been a location. I assume East-ish, because I think that driver stayed in Kentucky. That driver at that point has been racing professionally for about 30 years, off and on, or whatever. The money wasn't good enough to stay racing professionally back then for that long unless you were really good, but just off and on whenever he had a chance. Whenever he had a chance, he did as good as he really could. He actually raced in the convertible division. I attempted to look up that stat, but it kind of all it showed in convertible division was like races finished or whatever. Maybe it's somebody who just tried or whatever, and the car broke down or wrecked or whatever, so it didn't actually show it. But I believe him. He fits that exact quote of racing it. He actually has old pictures of like cars that would have raced in that and all that, so there's no reason not to believe him. That's when he started racing professionally. It was 1950s convertible division NASCAR. He got his first and only NASCAR win, I think it was 1981. 25, 30 years of racing professionally, whenever you get a chance to. One win in a very small series that no one but him probably remembers, but if anybody ever does want to remember, it's there to see. That driver's now 90, I think 90 exactly years old. Still actually drives a truck. It's a Chevy, but still can drive, still goes around, still has a good life. That's sort of the highlight of his like career or whatever. I mean, not highlight of life, that's generally marriage or kids or whatever, but highlight of career. He actually sort of made a career out of racing. I think he did have other jobs along the way, but the career he mentions is racing. But I really don't think I'm ever going to make a career of racing. I've probably rambled on to the point of it's kind of obvious that this may very well be the peak, but it's not a bad one to have. I don't have the money or reflexes or whatever to do racing. I mean, I can train and be able to do a lot of push-ups in a minute or something after months of training, but racing needs reflexes, racing needs some natural talent, racing needs money. Those three I don't necessarily have. But I have been racing on Gran Turismo for 16, 17 years. I've been racing quote-unquote professionally, kind of sort of on Gran Turismo levels and leagues and stuff like that, or purposely trying to better myself in time and drift trials or so for about 5 years. And now it's finally showing with one world championship and one series of one section in one season. with one manufacturer. Yeah. I'm sure this doesn't even relate to actually that many people. I guess whoever's watching it at this point it might relate to. But seriously, y'all can do it. I did. Y'all may have already done it for all I know. If y'all actually are real race car drivers in real life, or even if y'all are just like better than me in the game or whatever, which there's still quite a few as on here. And like usual, there's people missing from these races as well, who were just better than me, who didn't have the circumstances or whatever to get in. Either way, y'all can do it. Y'all can do it well. Racing, possibly more than any other sport, is about practice. Real life or not. Granted, in real life, in order to practice, you need a lot of money, and the best way to get that money is, well, to do good in racing, so you kind of have to be good off the bat, unless you have a lot of money to put into it, which not very many people do. Like, I remember a story about Denny Hamlin, is he had barely any money to start off with. His parents had to take a loan that was really risky, because it would have probably ruined their lives if it didn't work out. But it did. Granted, I'm not telling you to do that, but still, it's happened before. Pretty much what I'm saying is, use what you have, whatever it may be that you have. I have this. I've always had this. Always had a controller, never a steering wheel. I use automatic transmission. I don't go to the gym every day. Generally, if I do work out, it's just like running in somewhere that I'm allowed to. It's something that doesn't cost money is how I work out with. That I don't take off work or school to practice. I don't have friends who race cars that let me use theirs when they're not using them. I'm pretty normal with that. And yet, well, I still got here. And I'm not even really last at this point. Again, that's just circumstances. That driver behind me, I do believe, is faster. I qualified over a second off 23rd this race. I'm in 23rd now, but it may not stay there. But hey, I am. Circumstances again. Whenever you get good circumstances, use them to the best of your abilities. Try as hard as you can, and even if it doesn't work out, as long as you did everything you need to do, it's no big deal. Those circumstances might come again, and even if you don't, just work with other circumstances you know you do have and just do the best with them. One thing that I've definitely figured out over time is, even if it doesn't really work out or whatever, it kind of ties in with what's kind of showing here is just, even if it doesn't work out, practice more and then stuff may be able to work out later. Especially in a video game, the chances are better. Like, generally, you can find a second chance to be able to get recognized. And really, even sort of kind of like me, you can recognize yourself if you think you're able to, or whatever. I mean, not everyone wants to put in time to record a race on their phone. You know it's never going to get over 100 views unless, again, good circumstances. But I'm willing to do that pretty much every day, just because even if it's not that many views, even though it's not that many people that recognize you, even if it's one person, that's still one better than it may have used to be. Whatever you can get it. And eventually, realistically, you can probably even be faster than I am. I'm not. I still don't think I'm an alien. Some people I think I am, and I guess I thank them for that. That's cool. But yeah, I made it here. Y'all can too. some of racing is actual reflexes and natural talent too. Just I feel like less racing than other sports because racing it's more of a machine doing it. That's why some people make the argument that racing shouldn't be in the Olympics. But realistically, a lot of, I mean, of course, like any sport, the main point is to just be dominant at it, be as good as possible, be as athletically superior. But Olympics, more than a lot of other things too, is you have to put in tons and tons of time and effort and even recognition to get there. Gran Turismo allows for recognition to be possible, and then time and effort's kind of up to you. But a video game is a lot easier to put time and effort into than real racing. And well, I've got to here, and here in a general sense is as high as even possible to get. In a general sense, I mean, obviously I could go up the field, but this actual race is the pinnacle, and I got here some way or another. I may not ever get here again. I did the best with what I had. I guess it's up to y'all whether if that's good or not, but to me it was. I don't think I could have done any better. And what I did is, well, let's get into the race. I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. What I did was 23rd. But I did improve. My best lap was about 4 tenths of a second faster than I got in practice. I moved up one spot in the race, and I got the clean race bonus. So I did all I could. I didn't wreck anybody. I was able to pass somebody. And I got to see all these drivers' lines to know what to do in the future. Even if I don't have a future in this, again, I'll have other circumstances where I can still take from this and improve. Whatever you have, use it, and trust me, it works out. I'm far from the best. I was just able to give my best, and I got here. I'm the fastest Dodge driver in the world. Nobody can take that away from me. It's true, it's there, it's official. It's only one circumstance that had to have everything go right. And it may not happen again. But if there's even a small chance of it happening again, I'll take the chance that's absolute max. And y'all probably should too, because it's definitely worth it getting to here. And it's worth it just getting to anywhere better, honestly, as well. And that's most definitely where yeehaw.